Welcome back to the Bible Study Journey. It's great to have you with us as we continue our verse-by-verse exploration of Scripture. Today, we're diving into Genesis chapter 25, a pivotal chapter that marks a major transition in the biblical narrative. Here, we witness the end of Abraham's life, and the story shifts to the next generation, Isaac, Jacob, and Esau. This chapter is packed with lessons about legacy, God's unwavering promises, and the profound danger of trading eternal value for temporary satisfaction. Let's begin with the first section, verses 1 through 11, which covers the final years of Abraham. The chapter opens by telling us that Abraham took another wife, Keturah, and had several more children. Now, while Abraham had many descendants, the Bible makes one thing incredibly clear: Isaac alone was the child of promise. We see Abraham giving gifts to his other sons and sending them away from Isaac. This wasn't an act of unkindness. It was an act of preservation. Abraham was ensuring that Isaac remained the undisputed heir of God's covenant. This teaches us a few powerful truths. First, God's promises are specific and intentional. Second, His divine plan cannot be replaced or rushed by human effort. And third, what God establishes, He sustains. Abraham lives to be 175 years old, and when he dies, Scripture says he was gathered to his people. This beautiful phrase suggests a life of peace and fulfillment, a life lived in faith, trusting in the promises of God. Next, from verses 12 to 18, the chapter briefly records the genealogy of Ishmael. You might wonder why this is included, but it's incredibly significant. It shows that God kept His promise to Abraham to bless Ishmael and make him into a great nation, even though the special covenant continued through Isaac. This is a testament to God's character. He is faithful to every single word He speaks. Not one of His promises ever falls to the ground. After this genealogy, the text tells us that Ishmael dies, officially closing this branch of Abraham's family line and preparing us to focus solely on the line of promise. This brings us to the main event of the chapter, starting in verse 19, the birth of Jacob and Esau. The focus now shifts entirely to Isaac. Just like his mother Sarah, Isaac's wife Rebekah is unable to conceive. So what does Isaac do? He prays to the Lord for his wife, and God answers that prayer. Rebekah becomes pregnant, but it's a difficult, tumultuous pregnancy. The struggle within her womb is so intense that she seeks the Lord for an answer. And God reveals something astonishing. Tells, 2 nations are in your womb, and the older shall serve the younger. Think about that. Before these boys are even born, before they have done anything good or bad, God declares His sovereign purpose. This reveals that God's plans are not bound by human tradition or the right of the firstborn. He works according to His own sovereign will, and He sees the future long before it unfolds. Esau is born first, red and hairy, and Jacob follows, literally grasping Esau's heel, a symbolic preview of the conflict that will define their lives. The final section, from verse 27 to 24, shows us the consequences of character. As the boys grow up, their differences become stark. Esau is a man of the field, a skilled hunter. Jacob is a quieter man, staying among the tents. One day, Esau returns from hunting, completely exhausted and starving. He sees Jacob cooking a red stew and says, "Give me some of that stew. I'm about to die." He tells Esau to sell him his birthright in exchange for the meal. The birthright wasn't just about a double portion of inheritance. It represented spiritual leadership, the family blessing, and the responsibility of carrying the covenant forward. He trades his sacred, long-term inheritance for a single, temporary meal. The chapter ends with the sobering words, "Thus Esau despised his birthright." This is a powerful warning for all of us. The choices we make in moments of weakness can have lasting, devastating consequences. Our spiritual priorities must always come first, even when our flesh is screaming for attention. So, as we reflect on Genesis 25, we're reminded that God is always working His plan through the generations. His promises continue, His purposes move forward, and our choices truly matter. The question for us today is, will we value what God values? Or will we, like Esau, trade our spiritual inheritance for a bowl of stew? Thank you for joining me on the Bible study journey. If this study blessed you, please like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss our next session. We'll be moving on to Genesis chapter 26. Until then, stay rooted in the Word and stay faithful in the journey.